In this video we'll talk about Control 132, which is all about making sure your cybersecurity policies and procedures are actually being implemented. This is a critical step in keeping your organization safe from cyber threats and in compliance with laws and regulations. First things first, you'll want to establish a clear governance structure for your cybersecurity policies and procedures. This means having a senior-level cybersecurity officer in charge, and a team of cybersecurity professionals who will be responsible for developing, implementing, and enforcing your policies and procedures. This way, everyone knows who's in charge and who to go to with any questions or concerns. Next, you'll want to make sure that everyone understands their responsibilities and is held accountable for following the policies and procedures. This means assigning specific roles and responsibilities to individuals, teams, and departments and making sure they know that they're responsible for keeping their part of the organization secure. You'll also want to implement technical measures to support your policies and procedures. This can include things like firewalls, intrusion detection systems, encryption, and other security technologies to help protect your sensitive information and systems. It's also important to regularly check that everything is working as it should be. This means conducting regular compliance audits and security assessments to make sure your policies and procedures are being followed and that your technical measures are doing their job. One more thing that could be added is the importance of monitoring and reporting on the implementation of cybersecurity policies and procedures. This can include establishing metrics and key performance indicators, KPIs, to measure the effectiveness of the policies and procedures and reporting on the results regularly. This allows organizations to identify any areas where the policies and procedures may not be working as intended and make adjustments as necessary. Additionally, it could be important to regularly review the policies and procedures to ensure they are still relevant and effective, and to make updates as needed. It could also be important to conduct regular risk assessments to identify potential threats and vulnerabilities, and to update policies and procedures accordingly. During the gap assessment stage, all existing policies and procedures should be reviewed to determine if all cybersecurity relevant areas are covered and adequately addressed. If gaps are found, these should be enhanced, and where required, additional policies or procedures should be defined, documented, approved, communicated, and implemented. And lastly, don't forget about training and awareness. Your employees need to know and understand the policies and procedures and how to comply with them. This can include regular training sessions, security awareness training, and training on how to use the security technologies you've implemented. It's worth mentioning that IAM solutions can be a helpful tool to automate and enforce your cybersecurity policies and procedures. You can use IAM solutions to manage user identities and access rights across your IT environment. This includes features such as password management, two-factor authentication, and access request and approval workflows, which can help enforce the organization policies and procedures. Overall, Control 132 is all about making sure that your cybersecurity policies and procedures are actually being implemented, and that everyone in your organization is aware of their role in keeping things secure. Here's an example of how a company could implement monitoring and reporting on their cybersecurity policies and procedures. A retail company has implemented a number of cybersecurity policies and procedures, such as requiring employees to use strong passwords and regularly update them, and implementing a firewall and intrusion detection system to protect their network. To monitor and report on the implementation of these policies and procedures, the company establishes the following metrics. The company establishes metrics to measure the effectiveness of their policies and procedures. For example, they track the number of successful and unsuccessful login attempts to their network to determine the effectiveness of their password policy. They also track the number of successful and unsuccessful network intrusion attempts to measure the effectiveness of their firewall and intrusion detection system. Key performance indicators, KPIs. The company establishes KPIs to measure the overall effectiveness of their cybersecurity program. These might include metrics such as the number of successful and unsuccessful login attempts, the number of successful and unsuccessful network intrusion attempts, and the number of security incidents that occur. Reporting. The company sets up regular reporting on the metrics and KPIs, such as monthly and quarterly reports. These reports are reviewed by the cybersecurity team and the head of the organization or her delegate to identify any areas where the policies and procedures may not be working as intended and make adjustments as necessary. Review and update. The company regularly reviews their cybersecurity policies and procedures to ensure they are still relevant and effective. They also conduct regular risk assessments to identify potential threats and vulnerabilities and update the policies and procedures accordingly. By monitoring and reporting on the implementation of their cybersecurity policies and procedures in this way, the company can identify any issues or areas for improvement and make adjustments as necessary to ensure that their cybersecurity program is effective and compliant with laws and regulations.